other here. 28 of the top competitive teams in North American Amateur, all battling it out for their share of this split's massive prize pool, and it's all going to start right here, right now. My name is Gordo. I'm going to be joined by TDS throughout the remainder of this season as we cover each and every match that we can get our hands on, all the way up through those double elimination playoffs. So we're going to kick things off with BlackRock Esports, 5-0 Swiss team from the last Open qualifier, taking on the last OQ champs, Aporia. The rosters might be different, but you know what? We're handing those accolades right to the orgs.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, I was trying to think or trying to look if it was going to be the exact rosters. It's fine if it's not the exact rosters. This still could be exciting teams. I'm still trying to digest the fact that apparently Otter got the Aporia team. Like, that honestly blew my mind. I don't know how they accomplished it, but making exciting things for the OQ. And for Aporia and BlackRock, yes, they may have changed rosters, but new starts can work out for everyone. And just to try and call out, right, Aporia wasn't even supposed to be continue playing until they went back and played and won. So anything can happen for any of these teams as long as they have a clear idea and they play to their strengths.
Absolutely. Plenty of open season here for anybody to be able to make their leads happen, for anybody to be able to take an advantage, as we are already getting into draft for game number 1. Now, you may be surprised that we're here an hour later than we normally are. The spectate mode is broken right now, so we are going off of replay files. These matches were played a while ago, but there's some benefits for that for anybody who may not be familiar. As long as you don't go spoiling yourself on the results any of the ways you could do so. You do get no spec delays this way. We're going to be ready to get right in the game as soon as this one is over. You know what? At least we do get a little bit of live stream coverage here for a North American Amateur. A little bit of a new concept around these parts in this day and age. So that's going to be a whole bunch of fun. It's kicking things off, BlackRock Esports going to immediately start targeting that support pool. I know Aporia is bringing in a substitute on the day. They have got themselves, they're not running Detro, who is listed as their starter. They have got DDoS coming in the support position. BlackRock also using an E-sub. We'll see if he becomes a permanent member of the team, but that's going to be Zolt in the mid lane coming through for them.
Yeah, isn't it Saul taking from Mirage Alliance?
Who are no longer in the league and have been replaced by Bethany. So
exactly,
a whole little change of some roster moves going on since the group draw.
Even if it's a bit of a change, like honestly, Southgate is still one of the players that you have to watch out in the mid lane. He was picked into the Mirage Alliance roster for a reason. So overall, it's still a really interesting attempt. And I think BlackRock, even with the changes, they kind of stuck to an identity that I can get behind with. Obviously, it's not going to be the same, the same idea that they had initially that we saw in the OQs. But overall, I'm still can get behind what BlackRock is able to accomplish. That being said, with all the bans going through, the last SEMO ban, apparently they lost the ban, so nothing that really matters there. And now they're potentially going to go for the Ashe, one of the champions that has been priority in a lot of those situations. I'm kind of surprised that there's no Smolder Prio though.
Yeah, the Smolder Prio a little bit lower. It is a little bit nerfed on the patch. We are on the new 14.4. That's why Spectate's broken. So there's a couple of changes coming on through along with the patch that we'll be keeping a close eye on. We'll see how exactly they affect everything. My understanding is they have failed to nerf Maokai in any meaningful way, among other things. There's some Rek'Sai changes that people aren't quite onto yet. There are some Smolder nerfs on the patch as well, so we'll see how those end up affecting priority. BlackRock going to take that Ashe first, as you said. That's going to be flexible between Sushi and Pakis in the bottom lane. So you had to go through these rosters. BlackRock, they've still got Decoy, they've still got Kitsuo, they've still got Pakis. They do have Sushi at AD and Zolt in mid now. Aporia carrying only Lawrence from that now Blue Otter team that was Aporia last split. Then from jungle to support, they've got Short Race, like a Moss, Legacy, and normally Detro, but going to be DDoS for the day. As that Syndra going to come through for BlackRock, that is going to be for Zolt in the mid lane. And though it might look like a Robbie Bob pick, and now looking for a potential jungle here for Kitsuo, hovering that Graves.
Well, they're still trying to play around. The Syndra allows to give even more range to the Ashe to play, which is not necessarily a bad option. I was thinking maybe they opt into Italia, but that could be a bit too much magic damage. So having the Xin Zhao, the more aggressive pick, I think for Kitsu can work out really, really well. Obviously, giving them the carry junglers can be really nice, but overall, the idea that they have these champions can be really good. I want to see how Kitsu goes into the early game. The Nocturne as well coming in here. Maybe for the idea of the super long range to try and combat each other can be really, really good.
Yeah, very possible here, as that is going to be great. Couple of jungle picks coming through for them in the Xin Zhao for BlackRock and the Nocturne for Aporia. We are pretty used to seeing that Nocturne paired up with Orianna in the current meta. The Orianna, of course, going to be on the ban list, though, for BlackRock. So they're still going to be willing to pick it here. They feel like it's going to be plenty valuable, even with that Azir in the mid lane. They think that Shorter Race is going to be able to pilot it to some success. Now, bot lane focused fans for Aporia. They want to take away some of the best duos with that Ashe, the Senna, and the Ezreal going to come on across. BlackRock looking to take away Lawrence's best champ from the last ACL. That Jax was so big for him on his Lotus squad. Now, are they going to look to pinch that pool maybe a little bit further? Or are they going to look for support? They're going to take away the Pyke, still trying to focus in on this E-sub DDoS.
Trying to pay attention onto the E-sub, and I think it's a safe enough strategy to try and take away some of the potential power picks. The Maokai getting covered here more than likely could be looking at a support Maokai instead of a jungle Maokai thanks to the Nocturne, but there's players that still play top lane as well, so there's that slight chance as well. I like the idea of having the extra range bot lane, and then especially because you're going against an Ashe, so having that extra range to combat here can almost always work out. The Rel though, it does feel more like a Pokus champion, if you ask me, with the idea of what he can accomplish for the team. But I think it does take away a bit from the potential of the Ashe to try and punish more inside of the lane. So they opt into the Melio, a bit more range, a bit more safety for the Ashe potentially with the Campfire plus the Cleanse. And now you're just missing your top laner and taking blindly. I can see the Aatrox being one of the choices, although the Darius can be a juicy one. The K'Sante is the evergreen, the one that everyone plays and can play out any situation, so I wouldn't be against it. But Aatrox, it's coming there, and I can see the K'Sante being the answer here, or maybe the Fiora answer, which wouldn't be that bad. Actually, the Gwen.
Yeah, very possible. All right, so going to be the Aatrox in the top lane, going to be the selection for Decoy up there, and they are going to take the Gwen in response for Lawrence, trusting that this experienced top lane are going to be able to outperform in the one-on-one matchup, giving him that split push focused counter pick and are really leaning into that matchup. So going to have a solid bit of ability to move around the map here, going to have some solid scaling with the Azir, but also have that backup plan of being able to play through side lanes. That Gwen is just going to be unanswerable coming into the later game for BlackRock. So definitely got themselves some solid options to play through and a couple of different routes that they can take this game depending on their performance. But I called it out earlier, no need for a spec delay. So we are on to the Rift for game number 1. BlackRock Esports taking on Aporia.
Exactly. One of the few advantages of having the game start immediately certainly gives us the chance to not have to wait for the delay and not have to think about anything else. Action immediately starting, and already just having the initial 5-point staring contest, nothing out of the ordinary. One thing I wanted to mention in draft quickly that, well, now that we jumped in, and that kind of surprises me is that, if I'm not wrong, Kai'Sa did get buffed in this patch, right? So kind of surprising to not see anyone put a little bit more focus on her, I think.
Yeah, definitely the case here. I do also believe, I think that's Hyph in the jungle, I do believe. So Kitsuo looking like he's not starting today either. Looking like, do believe that that's Hyph. I will get some confirmation on that if I can. But they got a couple of substitutes in here for the BlackRock squad on the day, but I've heard some very exciting things about Sushi in particular coming in after having played support on that CCG Futures roster. And he and Pokus are going to get things started here, finding Legacy at level 1, chunking them to below half HP, and they're just going to be pretty satisfied with what that means for the start of their lane. Legacy looking to take a recall here at level 1.
That's a painful start for the side of Aporia, especially in a lane like this where range is really, really important and having control really early on can matter so much. This sort of start for the bot lane from BlackRock is so effective, and now can give him more space for someone like the Xin Zhao to invade and try and make the life of the Nocturne a living hell.
Absolutely can here, buying them so much space. You can see they already got some aggressive wards in on both sides. They're going to have really great tracking for shorter race here as Lawrence is advancing forward, looking to snip away at Decoy, taking him to below half in his own right. Zalt gets a nice trade onto Leica Moss in mid lane as well. These guys are really starting to chunk each other out in the first couple of levels, even before the junglers start to get involved. And that means there's going to be some juicy targets for somebody like Hype or shorter race to find later on.
Legacy is still 0 CS. Gordo, he barely has touched anything from the wave, and now he's going to collect some, but that's so painful. And like you're mentioning, this makes for some of the targeting in mid lane to be even more juicier for some of the junglers. That being said, you know that Nocturne does like to wait till the level 6 to find some of those avenues to go into the attack. Meanwhile, the Xin Zhao can go earlier, though. Set up here for shorter race, maybe?
Yeah, very possible. Shorter race hovering around, looking to get in behind Zalte. There's going to be Moss coming on in, getting the early trade with that shuffle in, but has to keep his distance a little bit. Zalt going to be able to create the distance, avoids the Duskbringer, and it's not like shorter race has any other tools to really close that gap. So just going to relieve a little bit of pressure, make sure he can farm, but that's going to be a great scatter of the week. Looking for the solo kill, first blood. Hype not even needed, but the trade's coming back and forth as that Duskbringer is already on top of Zalt. Shorter race going to look to chase him down. The wind not going to be enough, but will they be able to win out in the one-on-one? They can. Hype claims it 2-1 for BlackRock.
It's enough, but the play, full credit to Salted. That was so well executed. Perfect high range stun there by the Syndra, able to get the knock up onto Leica Moss, and then the follow-up by the Xin Zhao, perfectly done there. I think maybe a little bit earlier could have set up for an immediate kill like a mouse, but here we see the full repetition. They have everything thrown onto Salt, but no flash force here. And then when you have the play be so long, you give the cooldowns to the Syndra back there. I think that's the longest range you can have. Insta flash, Leica Moss cannot escape, and perfect execution there. Could have been even better if Salt survives, but beggars can be choosers. You get the kill there, you get the assist, and you give a kill to the Xin Zhao. Everything that you wanted works out there.
Yeah, so close. Wind becomes lightning with that slow on the tip, very nearly giving Zalt the escape, but just not quite enough there. Already going to be an explosive start for BlackRock, finding them with about a 1k gold lead. They're ahead in the bot lane as well. Remember that level 1 play that Sushi and Pakis were able to make? Legacy missing out on some of that first wave and still seems to be suffering the consequences of that, as there's nearly a 2-wave lead there for Sushi and Pakis. Actually going to be even more. They have this whole wave to clear out. They're going to be up like 3 waves here. They have been dominant in this bottom lane.
Yeah, they've been able to hold a lot of that. That being said, there's been good trading for both Jin and the Maokai, and with the way that the wave is coming through, with the back that they are taking, they probably are going to be able to get everything back into their favor. This is a really interesting mind game down here in bot lane. But like you're mentioning, the trade at the start does matter quite a bit for a difference in damage and a difference in lane control. For when the Milio and the Ashe come back, I can see a Dragon play potentially, because Salted is also coming back into the mid lane. Everything can set up for that play and begin giving small advantages, even more small advantages, to the side of BlackRock Esports.
Absolutely here. Quick shout out to Salty Runback coming in with the raid. Appreciate you guys joining up for ACL on our first day of the split. You're just in time for us to be kicking off our very first series. BlackRock with the first 2 kills on the board, going to be looking to get the first dragon on the board as well here, just nearing up to 6 minutes, using that bot lane dominance they've already established for themselves. They should be able to claim this without issue. I mean, Legacy and DDoS still on their way back to lane, coming in with just the boots too, pretty evenly matched in terms of items, but starting to fall behind in CS. Decoy and shorter race at a little bit of an extended trade here as well. Decoy already has access to that world ender, and that means he's willing to duke it out with the Nocturne a little bit.
Yeah, and honestly, really important, not necessarily the fact that he's forcing shorter race or forcing damage onto shorter race or any kill, but denying the little void rumps, yeah, those. Denying them is actually quite big, because typically the trade is first dragon for the void rumps. But with no void rumps, you end up getting nothing, and here comes Hype now.
Yeah, Hype trying to come on up and interrupt this top lane battle. Really want to give props to Sushi and Pakis for that bot lane trade again, by the way. Really clean stuff there, dodging out on the skills, weaving in their owns with the volley. And Sushi gets a really great trade there and is able to keep Legacy on the back foot, chunked out very low once again. Just building up more of an advantage for BlackRock.
it just keeps piling up, right? The damage keeps on coming through. They are taking such good trade. And talking about what we were mentioning before with the Nocturne getting denied those grubs, that means that it's going to go into the Shin. Oh, Lawrence?
Yeah, Lawrence with a nice target play. There's another one. There's a solo kill for Decoy. Great start on the Aatrox as Zalt going all out in the mid lane as well, throwing out that unleashed power, looking for a second solo kill, and he'll get it. No need for jungle support on this Syndra versus Azir, making it look like the pre-rework Syndra.
Good old times, Gordo, good old times, but this is looking like such a lane dominant game. Top lane gets a solo kill, mid lane gets a solo kill, bot lane just gets better trades, but everything is working out for BlackRock Esports in the best way possible, and Aporia is simply not finding the ways to come back into the game. Now with level 6 on the Nocturne, maybe they can try and set up some plays, but overall, it's BlackRock just getting everything they want.
Absolutely here. This is how you would have drawn up the early level gameplay if you could have. Winning out on the top side, just the last nail in the coffin for calling this early game a BlackRock win, as they guarantee that they're setting behind the Gwen. They're not going to be getting victimized by that real side lane pressure. They're off to such a good start on their Syndra. She's getting all those extra splinters from those solo kills up against Leica Moss, and Suche and Pockets are sitting pretty in the bottom lane as well. Even got a kill on to Haif on this snowbally jungler, and that just puts Shorter Ace in such a dangerous position. If he over dives, if he over engages, he can lose out on that one-on-one, and that is always going to be a risk in these battles. Is another great trade coming in from Decoy.
And Decoy is doing such a good job with those trades, and like you were mentioning, having 1,000 gold lead on your mid laner, especially on the mid lane that can blow up pretty much every target in the map, because there's no true tank. So this Saltate Syndra is going to be such a dangerous champion to deal with later on in the game. And when the Syndra is so far ahead, like you were mentioning, the splinters begin to matter so much, the damage items begin to matter so much, everything just begin piling up, and it's going to be really scary to try and deal with it. On the rest of the map though, you still have good value, and the fact that the Aatrox is doing such a good job as well can create a kind of double threat kind of composition for the side of BlackRock, where they have even more people to pay attention to, and that way they can just blow up targets easier.
Yeah, absolutely here. And this is really where you start to feel the break points in the mid lane as well. That Luden's Companion already done for Zalt compared to just the Blasting Wand. That's crazy, as Doss is just getting run down by this Ashe. Enchanted Crystal Arrow doing its job, missing the volley, but will be able to melt this Maokai down, and Legacy has just got to get the hell out of there. Decoy solo killing Lawrence in the top lane, meanwhile. Haif just can't even get his name on any of these. He keeps rolling up to lanes, and they're just getting the job done on their own. They don't even need this Sinjao.
This has to be the least impactful jungler game I think I've seen in a while, where yes, he hasn't done anything wrong, but he hasn't had to do anything. His lanes are just winning by themselves. That's a really good flash blowing by the side of Leica Moss, threading the needle in a really good way, and Lawrence here just gets completely comboed down for the second time against Decoy. And it's just full credit to Decoy. He's playing with the ranges in a really effective manner in a matchup that was counterpicked. The win was picked after the Aatrox, and he's just completely demolishing her.
Yeah, I mean, these guys on BlackRock, they have been mad about their OQ seating. I mean, this has been the subject of a lot of conversation over the last 24 hours, and they look like it. They are all coming out, all performing individually, looking really solid up against this Aporia team. And again, this is not the Aporia team that won the last OQ, only sharing Lawrence, but this is another highly rated team in this group. I mean, they were definitely one of those tier 2 seeds getting pulled into the group super, super early. And BlackRock is showing like, hey, we don't have the roster that we signed up with, but we are still an S tier team, and showing it off in this game number 1.
Yeah, they're doing a really amazing job with what they are accomplishing here in the game 1. The game hasn't finished yet, so there's still a chance for Aporia to turn it around completely, but so far it's been so well executed by everyone from BlackRock. And like you were mentioning, they have kind of a vendetta against what happened in the OQs and what people perceive of them, so trying to set a strong precedent already can be really nice for them. And it also works out in the way that there's people that say that their current roster is probably weaker than before Alo played.
Diving on in, there's going to be the throw down the Crescent Guard. So much damage on a shorter ace. He's got to flash out right away. Lycamoth's going to get knocked up. There's going to be a curtain call coming in from the river, but it's not going to save his jungler, and it might not save the mid either. Sushi arriving to the play, looking to chase down this Azir, but doesn't want to expend the flash to do it. Lycamoth is forced out, should be able to stay alive. Decoy a little bit late on the flank. Salt throwing down some covering fire, but really they're just buying space for this dragon. They got one kill, and that's all they want.
Yeah, and it was a play that was started by Aporia. It was shorter race, forcing with the paranoia, followed up by DDoS and the super long range from Legacy's ultimate, but it didn't matter at all, and it was so well executed by BlackRock. I feel a bit of greediness there because they probably could have gotten more, but here you can see, it's all started by the side of Aporia, but a perfect ultimate flash by Pocus sets up the freedom for both Salt and Hive, and then Hive just has to follow up on some of the kills. I feel like there was a bit too much greediness there, trying to kill like a moss instead of following for DOS. I think they have more damage to kill DOS, or at the very least easier way to follow up there, but it's still one kill for nothing and the dragon.
They'll take that very proudly here. 7-1 on the scoreboard, a 3K gold lead, 2 dragons to their name. BlackRock Esports having the start that they would have written up for themselves in this game number 1. And are definitely looking to march forward and see what more they can eke out in this mid game. You really want to beat out the scaling of the Gwen, but you also have this Syndra scaling on up. You got Ashe versus Jhin. The Jhin, not exactly known to be the massive DPS threat in the late game. They should be feeling pretty confident in their ability to continue to execute these fights going forward. I mean, they're happy to go for that Dragon Soul win condition, but it's also not like they're a massive snowball-y comp that just needs to keep doing this either.
And so far, they've been 100% on the control of some of these objectives. They don't have full Void Grub value. If on Rugged 6, they only will get 4. But it's still really impressive how they've been able to control everything around the map. And like you're mentioning, as long as they don't allow for a massive out of control from someone like Amaz, oh, that's perfect.
Oh, great interrupt there from Salt.
Yeah.
Gonna take down Lycamoth once again. This time, some other names getting involved on the action, and that's just going to be the play dead in its tracks. Shorter race on this side of the map, but you can't even think about going in now as you've just lost your mid laner. And Decoy keeping the push going as well. Really great stuff here from BlackRock. Just a very clean early game so far. Not a lot to criticize.
Yeah, there's barely anything that you can say. Maybe the only thing is that bot lane didn't get a kill, but overall, just so well played in so many levels that it's kind of difficult to see what can Aporia do to try and turn it around. That being said, and to try and play devil's advocate, I feel like Aporia does have the leeway of having damage on their side. Yes, they do have a Jhin and a Nocturne that may end up lacking damage eventually in the late game, but importantly for BlackRock, there's no true tank either on their side. That means that as long as the damage can stack on them, they can get killed. They do have a win, they do have an Azir, so that damage late game is going to matter a lot. It's how they are able to get it down, and that's a lot of damage onto DOS.
Yeah, a couple layered mines there, just slowing Sushi barely enough to guarantee the land of that curtain call, or that deadly flourish rather, to be able to stop Sushi from advancing forward. As we've seen multiple times now, this Ashe can just run through this bottom lane. The damage is not built up on the Jhin yet to actually be able to dissuade anything, and Aegis just provides so much support. As you've got it all in the top lane. World Ender is popped by Decoy. He's trying to fight this one out with the Darkened Blade, relying on that Hydra, and it'll pay off for him. Takes down Lawrence in another solo kill. That's 3 for 3 going the way of Decoy on the Aatrox.
Exactly, and once again, it's started by Lawrence, but it's Decoy that just plays it out really, really well. Does have to blow the flash, but he flashes away from the damage. That means that, oh no, Lycamoth gets stunned.
Yeah, this is going to be a solo kill. He's got no chance. He's isolated with the Luden's companion. It's over.
That was a great arrow by Sushi there in the mid lane, and I don't think there was vision. It was just an assumption that he was going to go into the bush, or that he was going to take that sort of pathing.
Yeah, Sushi just feeling confident to throw those out. That's going to be Rift Herald picked up for Hive. Going to bring it on over to mid lane. Doesn't need it to take down this turret, but they're going to fell as many outers as they can get. They've thrown it down actually pretty far away. They're going to try to push for an inner here.
I think they probably want to try and ride it all the way to the inner turret. I don't think it's going to be enough to take it down, but as soon as they take it down, they can even ride it inside of the base. The only problem is that obviously you do have to worry about someone collapsing. Oh, could this be the mid lane to bot lane play?
Well, it's at least going to be a knock-up on the Legacy, but that's going to be the all-in coming through on Assault. He's kind of left all alone without the backup of his jungler, but now Legacy is caught by that Rift Herald, but that's going to be 4 versus 1 on towards Hype. Throws down the Crescent Guard. That's going to allow him to immune this Curtain Call.
Legacy.
He actually decides to go all in, throwing down the Flash and dueling up against this duo. Here comes Pockets trying to back them up with the Cozy Campfire, and the warm hugs will be just enough to keep that Xin Zhao up and safe as Sushi continues to fire away at Doss. No chance of escape coming through for him as he will drop. Another kill coming through for BlackRock as Like a Moss forced out in the 1v1 up against Decoy. It's an extended 1-for-1 trade, but the map belongs to BlackRock and soon Social the Dragon.
Yeah, but for Aporia, this is not a bad trade. They do end up trading 1-for-1, but they get Salty, which does have a shutdown. It's massively important, and they also got a turret up there in the top lane. Oh wait.
There's still dueling up there.
Yeah, there's dueling down there, and almost another trade for Salty. But quickly talking about the replay, the Wind does get the top lane turret while they also get the shutdown on Salty. So that means that they get a huge amount of gold that they probably shouldn't be able to have accomplished before that. Even though Dawes died, it's nothing new. So it's not like you're missing anything by getting traded the mid lane for the support there.
Yeah, no, they definitely are going to appreciate having that shutdown gold. That's going to be their best path back into this. Shorter race now with 2 kills, but and that is not a lot in the face of what the rest of this team has been able to put together. Already 2 items for Zalt. An absolute monster in the mid lane has access to that execute damage now with the Shadow Flame, and that will be the end of anybody who he's able to find and get an isolated ultimate onto.
Yeah, there's no one that is going to feel comfortable about having to go against Salty. Maybe Lawrence because of the mist, but apart from that, everything else can be extremely scary to try and deal with.
Definitely. So you can see Lawrence starting to get a little bit dangerous in the side lane, has that Riftmaker completed. That Riftmaker really, really strong now, by the way. Gives you that extra healing, that extra percentage health damage, but it's not going to be enough to stop Decoy from trying to take this fight. He's got 2 items to his name as well. He thinks he can finish off this Gwen. Lawrence forced to pop the Ghost and the ultimate to run away. Here comes DDoS finding the engage. Cleanse comes through from Pockets, and they just shrug that Nature's Grasp right off. Going to be able to disengage just fine, and they know they're winning in the side lane. They know they've got push in mid. Baron's going to be up soon. They are just sitting pretty.
Exactly, it's just ultimate for ultimate, and without the ultimate from the Maokai, it's really difficult to make an engage or follow up on the engage from the Nocturne. As they see Dawes again, they want to fight this.
Yeah, this is a rough position for the Maokai. I mean, the nerfs are pretty minimal. Lost some base armor and a little bit of damage on your Q, but certainly looking nerfed in this game. Has really struggled to get anything started, and even when those engages happen, I mean, the whole team's so behind, just can't actually put together those fights the way you want to. Just getting forced out again and again.
Enough, they do blow the teleport from Decoy, and Lawrence did use I think most with the damage from the Syndra right now. I feel like if you do get a clip, there's a chance you end up dying, so I'm scared for everyone that gets clipped by Salty.
I completely agree with you there. I mean, especially when you get that magic crit thanks to the Shadow Flame, but just wasn't quite enough there. Maybe didn't have the stacks of the Luden's Companion. Oh,
missing
bot
3
lane.
more.
Top laners in the bot lane going at it yet again. This time going to disengage.
They fight, but nobody dies anymore. That's kind of sad. And talking a bit about the Syndra, missing 3 splinters off of 100. So that's the difference maker there to try and shut down someone immediately.
For sure. Checking on out. They are going to just be chilling still. I still think that Baron buff going to be in the cards before too long. There is some vision on it for Aporia. So fight breaking out in the bottom lane. World Ender going to be popped, but that hollowed mist making it very difficult to get all the regen you want. Decoy trying to fight it out, flashes away, has the movement speed, avoiding the snips from Lawrence, turning it back around with the Darkened Blade. Decoy on a rampage. Decoy looking for the 1 versus 2. Shorter Ace has got to get the hell out of there as the rest of BlackRock are looking to start up onto this Baron. Like a Boss going to get stunned up by the Scatter of the Week. He's going to get taken down while Decoy's finished off the jungler on the other side. It's a disaster for Aporia as BlackRock are cashing out across the map.
Exactly. There's 2 kills on bot lane, 1 kill on top lane, and a red and a purple monster dying completely on the other side of the map. It's all BlackRock Esports, and they are doing perfectly so far this game. And I cannot blame Aporia for the play. The idea is not bad. Decoy is by himself. You have shorter race, you have Lawrence. You're trying to burst him out before he gets the healing. But that's the most important part. You try to burst him out, he doesn't get bursted. That means that you can turn around the play as the Aatrox. The healing from Decoy was so big, and that immediately prompts the play to be on top side to try and get the Baron buff. So well done by BlackRock, and honestly, I'm not sure what Aporia can do anymore. They have to find avenues, but it's looking really bleak.
They can start thinking about game 2. That's an option right now. This is a fearless format, do not forget. So you do have your options to be able to, get some different looks in the draft. These champs going to be disabled in game number 2. Maybe you can start crafting up a plan, but right now, Lycamos just looks like he has no chance in this play up against Decoy. DDoS going to be throwing down that Bramble Smash, trying to buy a little bit of additional space, could get pushed back away nonetheless. This Baron buff siege just not stopping there.
Yeah, and honestly, it's kind of sad that we get all these highlight plays, and I don't think we've seen Hive do anything that highlighty worthy. It's kind of unlucky. This game has just been all solo lanes. Oh, Legacy has to cleanse.
Yeah, he's forced on out. There's the twisting advance, and once again, just cleanse on away. Breath of Life comes through for Pockets and breathes new life into this Blackrock siege. Nobody able to push them back. Health bars looking comfortable. An objective bounty going to get picked up on the other side as Lawrence looks for the recall. Has to be able to get back here and support his team, but they've already lost a full inhibitor bottom side. They're going to lose an inhib turret here before too long. There's going to be Lawrence trying to TP in behind him. Fight going to get started. There's going to be the engage from DDoS as well as shorter race. DDoS going to drop first, but they're able to get onto Zalt. Now Pak is going to be the next target. Lawrence trying to melt him down. On the other side, Sushi is just running through the Aporia roster, but Lawrence now going to meet him in the middle. There's going to be the fight coming through from Hive. Decoy teleports just in time to get his name on this ace for BlackRock, as this is going to be it for game number 1. A quick 24-minute slam for the BlackRock squad, who are going to take their first win here in Aegis and take us to game number 2.
Talk about a statement game. We knew that BlackRock was going to be serious business. Even if they lost some players, they still have a really strong core. And South8's edition, it shouldn't be undermined. I think that this player deserves more respect, doing such a good job in the mid lane, such a strong performance, and a really dominating victory against a team that, even with changed roster, they are still something to take into account. Lawrence is still part of the Aporia roster that won. So that is a team that you have to worry about, and at the end, it doesn't really matter. BlackRock destroying them.
Yeah, and I think that's where you got to be looking at Decoy here as a big standout player. I mean, playing up against Lawrence, the winner of the previous tournament, Lawrence had counterpick here, opts into the Gwen matchup, and Decoy just slams him. 3 solo kills coming through for this Aatrox. Exactly. Arguably 4 if you count the 1 versus 2. So, I mean, 5 solo kills total, 4 of them up against Lawrence. What a monstrous Aatrox performance for that guy. Looking so good here to start off ACL.
Exactly, a really big statement game coming in by them, but like we were mentioning, yes, it's a great victory for BlackRock, but we've seen series like this where there's a great dominating victory in game 1, and then after that there's a turnaround for the other team. Aporia still have time. We are playing on Fearless Draft, so that means that there's going to be forced changes, like it or not, and I want to see what the adaptations are going to be off of that.
Absolutely, and all Fearless may be a new look for the ACL. Coachify is not. Do want to give a shout out here to Coachify. Aegis Esports is sponsored by Coachify.gg for our winter 2024 split. Coachify provides tools for esports coaches to manage their teams and players while also finding new students. You can check out the panel located below the stream. Check out their website for more information. With that, we're going to throw it to a quick break while we get into draft for game number 2. Remember, we're going off of Raffle VODs here, so it might take a little bit of extra time, but less delay once we get there. So we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes as BlackRock Esports takes on Aporia for the second time tonight. Welcome back, everybody, to week 1 of the Aegis Champions League, where BlackRock Esports are up 1-0 over Aporia after a dominant game number 1. Now, with Fearless Draft introduced here for the ACL, we have got ourselves a whole new draft with some brand new band champions to take us away here before too long, TDS.
And also, thanks to the great Caddy, a brand new graphic. So it's all going to be new things for the ACL.
I think Benjamin's made this graphic. I'm not going to lie.
If there's one rule I learned from Aegis is that we don't give ever credit to either Benjamins or Flay. They never get credit. We cannot give them credit.
That's fair. Great job on these graphics, Caddy. Can't wait until everybody gets to see them. So we'll be coming on in here. Yeah, this is a dope graphic. I'm gonna be honest here, TDS. This is not to toot our own horn here or anything, but I think we're doing the best job of Fearless here on ACL. I know that this is big talk with for the graphics that haven't even debuted yet, but I think we're revolutionizing the game here. I think everybody else is doing it wrong.
We have to sell ourselves as high as possible, because we eventually need to either make the jump to Riot or make a competition to them. So yeah, we have to sell ourselves as highly as possible. And I think we did a good job. I think we're doing a really good job. And hopefully the teams do their job as well and bring us great games.
Yeah, I would love to get a game 3 going to start us off in week number 1. We were real good at picking them last split. We were mostly game 3s throughout the regular season.
Very few game 2 courses.
But we will see. I mean, BlackRock will get really ahead in that game number 1, but you can always blame it on a couple of misplays early on. There were definitely a few solo kills that you're going to be hoping to avoid. We will be getting into this draft here before too long. See exactly what these guys want to pick. I mean, so based on how that draft number 1 went, at the very least, if you're Aporia, you know the Ashe isn't going to be enabled. You have the freedom to pick blue side if you want it. I would think you want it, especially in Fearless Draft. I feel like blue side feels very, very comfortable. Means that you can leave out banning some of the power picks that the other team were able to get before. And they're really still forced to ban quite a few of the power picks that they got up against you. So I'm in Aporia, definitely can leave off things like the Ashe ban, leave off. I mean, the Ashe is probably the big one. Leave off the Xin Zhao, leave off the Melio. You're a little bit less worried about stuff like Lucian Melio coming in for the rest of the draft. Definitely some options there. I also
one of the big things, just quickly, one of the big things that I've noticed with the Fearless Draft from the NACL particularly is that more times than less, it's always still the champion that was the best in the previous game. So like you were mentioning, the Ashe looks like the biggest contender for that. But also is take away a champion that you know that can give the surprise here, and you don't want to see, and you don't care if it doesn't get the light anymore. Like, it's just to get it out of the way so that if you go into that game 3, you have the stronger champion by the meta instead of having the weaker one.
Yeah, for sure. As we are getting into draft for game number 2, we're missing Xin Zhao right down here below me, but that is the remaining Fearless ban from game number 1. Now we'll see what BlackRock and Aporia want to go for. It does look like Aporia chose red side, by the way. BlackRock's still sitting here on blue.
Choice.
Yeah, so they clearly value that counter pick and think that they can make a little bit more out of it in the second game than they did in game number 1. That last pick, Gwen, definitely not paying off for them the way that they might be hoping. I do want to chat about top lane a little bit here, especially TDS, just because it's 14-4. They kind of Akali'd my boy Cassante this patch. I mean, they removed like 3 mechanics from that man. That's a tough spot to be in. I can't blame them.
Yeah, but at the same time, I get why. Like, you don't get a meme by being a balanced champion. So it just makes complete sense that it took them a lot, don't get me wrong. It took them quite a lot. Okay, that is a huge jump in the draft.
This isn't even the right draft. There's no way this is the right draft. You wouldn't ban Gwen against Aporia. This isn't even. Not only is it. We didn't skip ahead because that's the wrong draft. So we'll get back in just
that makes sense. It's completely fine. Once again, blame Flay. This is because of Flay.
This is probably Flay's fault. I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it's Benjamin's fault. Benjamin's made the graphics, so.
Yeah, you go for whoever you want. You can blame any of the two. It works out anyway. But yeah, we'll bring the graphic back in a second. That being said, like, looking at the things that are going to probably coming through or be coming through. One of the big things that I'm kind of curious is how long do they hold on to some of these bans, right? Because the Blitzcrank staying in the same way. It comes from the first game going into the second game. Is your Ana going to receive the same treatment? Are you going to take away the Ashe like you were mentioning? Like the ban phase also gets so impacted that it can be kind of exciting to see what the big changes are going to be on the draft.
Yeah, I'm still kind of waiting for some big brain coach to start coming in and like really kind of fully embracing Fearless and going like, all right, well, with this champion disabled and this champion disabled because of Fearless draft, now we can ban, with champion A and B disabled, now we can ban C and D, and now there's no more counters left for X champion. I want to see some of that fancy stuff start to come on through. For the most part, though, what it has meant in NACL and NACLQ is that you never have to change your bans because if you lose to something that you weren't expecting to lose to, it turns out they're way better on a certain pick, or they have a counter you weren't prepared for. Well, now they're disabled because of Fearless. So you definitely don't have to adapt your bans in that way anymore.
I do think that there's been a couple of teams that make the most out of the Fearless draft in the NACL, but that's something that we can talk later on. There's a couple of bans missing, but that's fine. As we see the Smolder first pick, and we're talking about the priority on the Smolder. I still think it's a strong enough champion. Like you're mentioning, there were some nerfs that did impact the champion a bit, but the overall late game value plus the mixed damage can be really bothersome to deal with eventually. So I think it's not a bad plan. But immediately answered by Lucian Medio, that's going to be a really bot lane heavy duo.
Absolutely. So, they're going to look to try to play an aggressive lane into the Smolder. Yep. That's not too bad of a strategy, if I do say so myself. BlackRock opting into a much heavier scaling plan now, and the Smolder even a little bit weaker earlier on than it used to be with the nerfs that it received on the patch. As I will try to find out exactly what those were, but it's like you now are getting less extra fireballs. You get fewer extra fireballs now than you used to with the stacks. You have a longer cooldown on a chew than you used to, so it's kind of harder to throw that out on cooldowns. You're also more incentivized to hit the explosion than you were previously. And those are pretty much the nerfs that ended up coming on through. So, not the end of the world for the baby dragon, but definitely not as strong as it was.
Exactly. I do like the W change a bit, because I do think that it does incentivize trading with W way more, and it does take away a bit of the power from the Q. So overall, it's changes that kind of take away or change up the power value of the champion. But following up on the rest of the picks, the buy and the way, particularly the buy, having that point and click lockdown for someone like the Lucian that has a lot of mobility can always be great. The way, though, having extra range for the Smolder is also going to be quite bothersome to deal with, and they have great late game insurance policy with these two champions. The Xin Zhao on the other side, so Aporia taking a page off the book from BlackRock, and maybe this time we actually do see a Xin Zhao that impacts the game in a more powerful manner, because I didn't do anything last game, or didn't have to do anything realistically.
Yeah, I really like to see Hui paired up with a jungler like Vi, the ones that have like the really specific long telegraphed lockdowns like cease and desist. Yeah. Those are the kind of pairings I love to see, because if you get an isolated severing bolt on someone, that ability is nuts. That ability does so much damage if you get the isolated damage increase for it. That's the QW for those who don't know the 30 different Hui ability names. It's so good if you can land an isolated one there. So I always want to see the Hui paired up with champions who can guarantee him those isolated severing bolts. It lets you kind of be a pseudo assassin when you're paired up with champions like the Vi. The Xin Zhao now going to be the selection counter to the Vi by Aporia. They saw how well Hype was able to do it in a game number 1, and they want to get a little bit of that on towards their jungler.
Exactly. With the remaining bans coming through with the Aatrox and the Twisted Fate and the Talia and the Nautilus taking action, it's now the Yone. So I'm not against the Yone here, because typically when you're playing this sort of super long range mages that don't have mobility, you want a champion that does have the mobility to try and follow up on them. So I like the Yone idea here. That being said, Wei and Yone have the interaction, or the interesting interaction, that even when you play place your ultimate, it can follow up on the Unleashed Shadow, right? And it can be quite effective. As I'm gonna jump quickly, I think that's a Gragas support. It's not top Gragas support for Pocus.
Or it's Hui support.
Could be actually, yeah. Mid lane Gragas way support, so even more range for the Smolder to try and play and bother the Lucian and the Emilio a little bit more, as Sylas also coming. So there's a lot of mix-ups here and there for both of these teams, and anyone can go anywhere. Like there's a universe where you can send Wayne bot lane and then the Smolder mid lane as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a world where you could take the Yone and the Sylas to either or lane as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't love the Sylas into the Gnar. That feels like a little bit of a rough matchup, but in the one-on-one. But coming into the later game, I love having the Sylas on your team when there's a Gnar on the other team. That Gnar ultimate is just so powerful. The only thing keeping it balanced is the fact that it's gated behind that rage bar, and Sylas has no such issues. So he can snag that one away, use it anytime he pleases, and it'll be so effective with the rest of what they've been able to set up for here. They have such great ability to peel for this Hui and for this Smolder, to the point that I almost hope it's Gragas support so that Hui can build a little bit of extra damage. But either way, I do think this draft ends up working really well for BlackRock. For Aporia, they really need to get some sick value out of these Sylas ultimate steals, and on this Yone and
there's really good ones. There's great Sylas ultimates actually, and I always value the Sylas with, if there's not good ultimates, then it's an okay champ. If there's great ultimates, the champion jumps in priority so high. And the way the Smolder value, the Gragas value as well late game, it gives him so much AP, and you can also set up for your team. So overall, I do like the Sylas speed here for the ultimate value. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be the Gragas mid and the Wei support.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
All right, as we are on to game for game number 2, BlackRock Esports looking to take a 2-0 win over Aporia. Aporia looking to take us to game number 3. And looking like some of our questions are going to be answered immediately. It is the Yone in the top, the Sylas in the mid, the Gragas in the mid, the Hui at support.
A lot of mix-ups, a lot of champions thrown into different places, and going to be an interesting way of playing the game. I'm excited to see how both of these teams are going to go with. Salt winning already the matchup, gets the evasion on the chains, already showing presence in the mid lane.
Already showing a little bit of the schmovement there. I do like this Gragas into a lot of melees. I've been calling this out for a while. I mean, they gave Gragas some buffs a couple patches ago, saying it was to help jungle Gragas. Those buffs were not just for jungle Gragas. Those buffs were just straight up lane Gragas buffs. I mean, they gave him base stats and cooldown reduction on his ultimate, and they let his W affect turrets. Those are not jungle buffs. Those are lane Gragas likes those things just as much as anybody else.
Yeah, it actually makes laning even easier thanks to that. So it's just so effective now for the Gragas, and I would love to see even more people, because like you were mentioning, those were base stats. That means that even support Gragas gets even more love thanks to that, because he doesn't need to have anything else to be impactful in the lane. And I think this is going to be something that a lot more players and teams are going to value, as we see trading both in the mid lane, in top lane, in bot lane. Everyone wants to fight early on, and something that once again we didn't see much in the previous game was jungler interaction really early on, apart from the mid lane gang. Oh, Moss.
Like a Moss, maybe wishing he didn't land that abduct. He's got a flash.
Yeah, that's not a good start for like a Moss, and now Zalt can flash it. Yeah, this.
Well,
he's dead.
First blood to Zalt. You do trade 1-for-1. Maybe wish you got your lane crashed in there, your wave crashed into the turret. But you'll still take it. I mean, it's 100 gold extra for the Gragas for that 1-for-1 trade. You'll both teleport back to lane, and he's going to be rocking an extra Dark Seal when you compare the items 1-to-1.
It's Dark Seal value into just the boots for like a Moss, and once again, this sets up for a potential gank later on from the buy. There's no flash on either mid laner, and both junglers do like to try and gank, as we see both of them as well inside of the end of the blue side jungle. Oh.
And dueling back and forth, shorter ace, feeling like he's stronger in the one-on-one, going to continue to duke it out here with Hype, going to force him underneath that turret. Yeah, the Xin Zhao tends to win those early fights, and like a Moss able to get the push back in his favor, and knowing that Gragas doesn't have the flash for any body slam shenanigans, and is going to feel comfortable to continue to fight over these jungle camps with the Vi.
And funnily, because of the buy being in close proximity, it actually took away some of the experience from the Gragas. So right now, there is a bit of a lead for like a Moss in terms of experience, not on the gold value overall. Lawrence taking quite a bit of trading there.
Ooh, Decoy feeling confident, using the hop to apply an extra hyper stack. Says, hey, I know exactly where your jungler is. I don't have to blow that for an escape. I can use it for a little bit of bonus damage. And Lawrence now going to be on the back foot. I mean, Wave is not in a good spot for Lawrence right now. He's going to have to recall, and once he gets back, he's going to have to tank a bunch of damage from the Nari.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be a bit more value over there for Decoy, especially with the Mega Nara stacking up. You get more health back. He is pushing the wave, so probably trying to get a counter back here, not having to maybe use the teleport, but not going to get even more pressure in the top lane, as maybe like Amos may get baited into a trade with the buy so close by.
Yeah, definitely going to have to be very conscious of the threat that missing Hive represents here. Like Amos goes in for an aggressive trade here, he will be punished for it. Here comes Hive already showing himself. Like Amos should be able to skirt his way out, but there's going to be the flash vault breaker coming through from Hive, and another kill coming through for Zalt. 2-1 now in this mid lane for Zalt.
And with Shorter is being so far away, there's no chance to retaliate here on the kill. They are going to push the wave. They are going to actually wait. The Milio is coming, so maybe there's a chance. No, there's nothing going to happen here. They are going to lose some of the jungle camps for Hive if they are not careful enough about the Shin, but it seems like they are tracking the Xin Jiao really effectively.
Ooh, the recall interrupt on this Gragas would be rough, but Zalt able to get away in time. Ultra Mega Fire Kick doesn't connect. Good dodge, and the wind becomes lightning there from Hive. It will lose the Wolves. They will potentially lose the Gromp, but Zalt will be able to get back into lane and continue to push this lead.
Yeah, there was 4 members up there in the top side with Emilio up also up there, so I was thinking maybe they were looking for a potential dive or to play for the Void Grums, but it doesn't look like the case. It's going to be Dragon on one side getting a bit more pressure by BlackRock Esports, and with the death on like Amos, the difference in damage is going to begin stacking up quite a bit on the mid laners.
Absolutely here. Not as big of a lead as Zalt was able to build up in game number 1, but definitely still starting to eke out an advantage in this one-on-one with Like Amos. So they're taking over to level 6, getting that hijack. Going to be a big help out here for the Sylas. He's just continuing to fight on out for the waves. And a trade of early objectives. First Dragon coming on over for BlackRock, while Shorter Race clears out those grubs.
I just realized that both of the mid lane champions get healing with their W. I don't think that's typical to see in the mid lane matchup, and it works out better for the Batman.
Yeah, absolutely here. Just getting that happy hour procs over and over again is a ton of damage on Aporis, punishing those weak base stats from the Hui. Legacy trading aggressively to Sushi as well, but the return fire is plenty powerful for BlackRock. Legacy gonna have to flash out to safety to heal, already blown away by DDoS, and he's gonna need all of the defensive tools at his disposal to be able to keep him safe up against Hive, who is hunting around here, thinking about a dive. Would be pretty dangerous territory, but with big rewards, he will get pushed out as DDoS spots him.
Yeah, and because of the failure in the trade there, the fact that they lost on some summoners, that also means that the wave is in a perfect position for the bot lane. Look at where the buy is. They are slow pushing it. They are waiting around with it. That means that if they wait too long, that's going to be much more value for the side of BlackRock. Oh.
Good couple of shots coming in there. Lawrence going to go all out, throwing on through that Fate Seal, trying to get a solo kill up against Decoy. Decoy flashes away, but Lawrence finishes him off. Revenge for game number 1. The Aporia top laner takes the lead.
Yeah, taking advantage. Oh, wait, Zalt.
Great combo from Zalt, but look at that Kingslayer. Might just barely be enough to keep Like Amos alive, but one more barrel will spell his defeat. Zalt goes up 3-1.
Another solo bolo for Zalt, but at the very least this time around, Lawrence is doing a great job trying to keep the hopes alive, getting the counter kill up there in the top lane, and making it be a game of solo laners once again, but one on one team and the other on the other one.
Yeah, I mean, at least it keeps it a little bit more competitive, especially like Amos struggling in mid lane, giving up another kill there. Going to be thankful that Lawrence is at least able to start to build up a lead on that top side, especially when Legacy and DDoS, they are just struggling to take the fight to Aporis and Sushi here as the early game team. Ooh. Great interrupt from DOS. That Mega Fire Kick actually just saved Legacy's life.
Yeah, that had to be perfectly timed, because with the range, if you're just a tiny bit lead, the ultimate is just going to cancel out on the kick, so it doesn't really matter as Decoy.
Woo! Gonna get forced back underneath the turret there. little bit of a trade back and forth, but Lawrence still sitting pretty here. You can start to see some of the power of the poke that this bot lane brings now. Sushi takes over to level 6, and Pakis is feeling a little bit more comfortable to step up and throw out those, what is the book called? Devastation is the Q1, I think. Disaster is the subject, but throwing out some of those Qs, getting a little bit of poke damage on a cross, and gonna be pairing that up with those Achus that now are incentivized to be used for trading a little bit more, just trying to chunk away at these health bars where they can.
You're the PvP Gordo. You have to know the names. I just analyze
Listen,
them.
the subjects, that's maybe a bridge too far for me. All right, I'll know some things. I don't know if I'll ever know the Hui subjects. That's taking it a bridge too far.
I'm glad. That's one of the few things that make me glad to be a caller, not having to learn everything about the champions. As another fight mid lane.
Oh, like a moss just getting victimized here. Gets off the explosive cast, but it is too little and too late. And now Shorter races up way too far. Bomba coming through for Zalt. And there's going to be another kill for Hive 2 to the jungler this time as BlackRock continue to slam the mid jungle.
Yeah, this time around a bit more impact coming in from Hive, but it's just so easy when you have Salt setting up this play so effectively. The Gragas is so far ahead. Bot lane, oh, Joss?
Ultimate thrown down by Pakis, going to keep Doss in position. Here comes Mom, and Hive picking up a killing spree. Sushi finishing off DDoS as well. And everything's starting to fall apart for Aporia once again. Double killed on bottom now. This is going to be some plates coming through for Smolder. And BlackRock now ultra reliant on Lawrence to try to turn things around as the rest of the map not going their way. Hive fighting with Shorter Ace, knows he's got the backup of the bottom lane. Shorter Ace going to be able to pick up the shutdown, flashes out to safety with the double buffs in his pocket, and maybe a little over aggressive there from Hive, giving back something where he didn't need to.
Yeah, Hive didn't need to force the play like that. I honestly think it was overkill, but ends up giving up the double buffs to Shorter Ace, gets something back for Aporia, and it's desperately needed because everything is going out of the window for them. As we see the bot lane play once again, they forced really early on, and Pokus is just doing such an amazing job. He's playing the way like if it was a mid laner, and with the buy coming in from behind, they just simply have no way out. She even misses the Q, but it doesn't matter because they are so low. And honestly, I'm beginning to be sold on Sushi Gordo. I think this guy is playing so well so far, and it's looking exciting for BlackRock.
Definitely looking really good there on the Smolder as they are going to look to finish off Grubs. They do get all 6, but now they're going to be stuck in the pit. But who's locked in there with who? Is Decoy looking to turn it back around. Lawrence going to have already picked up 1 kill. Zalt going to be able to go on a killing spree, taking down that jungler. But like a Moss still at full HP, waiting for a second spell rotation. Shutdown picked up for Lawrence. He wants some more. It's a triple kill to Lawrence on the Yone, cutting down all who oppose him as Aporia get themselves back on the board, and they collapsed the gold lead.
It's all on Lawrence. The gold going to the carry that he's delivering so far. And crucially, oh wait, Legacy.
The Legacy should win this all day long. Trying to flash away from Mom, and he will get Sushi, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. The minions clap back for Aporia.
Yeah, and as it should have been a 1-for-1. At the end, though, they do pay the prize. Oh, wait, like a moss.
All right,
there is
now
here.
Out of the Silas getting stuck in with the tower. That's doomed. It's doomed. Salt gets another.
It was doomed, Gordo. It's just so easy for them to set up the kill. And Lycamos trying to get some gold, seeing his light opportunity finally and not getting the chance. And just wanted to quickly mention, big difference in the previous fight for the Boy Grubs. Crucially, Jaws got there first. That's why they end up winning so effectively. Decoy taking this fight a bit too early.
For sure here. There's going to be the advance forward. Decoy getting cut down. Lawrence goes unstoppable. And yeah, you just have no chance in that one-on-one these days.
I think Decoy took a little bit, or is staying a little bit too on the mindset of the previous game, because last game you probably could take that fight. This game, Lawrence is going to destroy you.
Yeah, he is just doing such a good job of being able to pick himself up an advantage. And now going to be giving even a little bit of breathing space to the rest of the team off the back of how many resources were expended up in that top lane. A Legacy able to get that 1-for-1 trade, and when the Smolder was already ahead, you're going to be pretty comfortable at least being able to get yourself a little bit more in your pockets. It lets you get to those item spikes. It lets you have a better chance in some of these skirmishes when Dragons are already going the way of BlackRock. Lawrence is over the wall again, looking for Decoy. Can he take him down? Dodge out on the Fate Sealed. thanking that Hyper for giving him the last bit of movement speed he needed.
That's either so well done by Decoy or so BS by Riot that it actually doesn't let them hit Legacy. Taking so much damage from the poke is just doing so effectively there. And I want to quickly check how many stacks does Smolder have right now, actually. 99, he's doing such a good job so early on.
Definitely getting so much done here as they are working their way on towards that turret. The bot lane turret will fall, and there's going to be that engage. They're throwing everything down. Mom comes on across from Sushi, but it looks like the damage return onto Hype might be coming in a little bit too strong. Shorter Race going to be able to finish off that kill. It's a stolen away Vi ultimate coming up huge for Lycamos as he locks down the baby dragon, trying to take him out, and will do so. Advancing forward on towards Pocket, so squishy on that way. Meanwhile, Zolt came in on the back line and blew up Melio, getting DDoS off the map here to get at least one back, but that's a winning play for Aporia.
Yeah, Aporia was ready to react to it, so on point and on time to not only save the life from Legacy, but also get two crucial kills. One on Hive, but the important one on Sushi, on the Smolder, denying the gold there. And you can see here the play, it starts by them trying to force. They try to take the turret. There's no Q on the buy, so it has to be ultimate base there. And even though Legacy gets clipped with the ultimate and a lot of the damage, so well done by Shorter Race to deny a lot of the initial engage and force the buy into a weird spot. And then it's all just having the numbers advantage and following up on the play really well. Weird does, he knows that the Gragas is coming, but it's just so much damage. Even overkills there.
Yeah, just good job by Legacy for adding that extra little distance so that he doesn't go down to the explosive cask as well. And great call by Lycamos to steal away that cease and desist before the Vi dies. So critical to being able to actually lock down Sushi and gets them extra kills where they wouldn't have gotten them otherwise.
Exactly. Keeping the gold as close as possible and actually making the game be not only really interesting, but giving the chance for Lawrence to actually make use of the gold lead that he had and transform it into huge value for the team. This is just making the game as close as possible, something that we didn't have in the previous game.
Definitely starting off on towards that Rift Herald. Hyph wants it for BlackRock as gold is now neck and neck. Aporia have successfully made that comeback. Just need to finish stabilizing. Look at that damage on his Zolt. Lawrence dodging away with the Soul Unbound, but he's going to have to get his way out of here one way or the other. Zolt just takes him down. Body slam into Drunken Rage. Finishes off that fed Yone as the fight breaking out in the jungle now. Pocket's going to find himself caught out on the other side, trying to kite his way out of Legacy and DDoS. Actually going to be able to do so. They just can't lock him down. Sushi coming in on the side, but he is not the flanking dragon he wants to be. There's the flanker you want. It's Hyph locking him down with the cease and desist, diving in onto Legacy. DDoS going to drop so fast, and Legacy about to join him. Decoy following forward to take down Shorter Race, and 4 members of Aporia are off the map.
Yeah, and that play all comes down once again to numbers advantage, but also to who is the superior solo laner, with Saul just taking down Lawrence so easily, and it's that huge value from the Gragas buffs, also with having the Leech Bane. That is so much damage on the just burst potential from the Gragas, and then when they don't blow up a target, wait a sec though.
Ooh, over the wall. Lawrence still very strong on this. Yone coming in, going to help lock down Pockets. They want to finish off now. Hyph going to drop over to Lawrence on the Yone as well. Zolt with that burst damage, though, takes Yone off the map. Lycamos on the back line, brawling with Sushi, but this is a big Gragas that's fallen right back to help out his AD carry. DDoS nearly gets one shot. Sushi's still fighting, goes over the wall with the flap, and Zolt can just keep on kiting it out. Nobody gonna be able to stop this mid laner. He gets another kill. Decoys arrive to the fight as well, kiting out Lycamos as they brawl one-on-one. Sushi looking to turn around that fight as the shutdown on Zolt is picked up by Legacy. That's a boatload of gold into the Lucian, but Aporia's routed. Mom is cutting off their escape route, and Sushi and Decoy want to clean up the bot lane. A chew over the wall, gonna get dodged out on by DDoS, but Sushi is already melting through the last members. BlackRock gonna take the fight. Double kill over to Sushi, and this turret is all BlackRock.
They may have finally taken down the FUD guy there, but it's not going to be enough to stop BlackRock Esports Unlocked. And here Lawrence is coming. Actually, maybe there's a bit more of the fight. Oh.
Oh, focusing in on towards
he's dead.
Lawrence. He is melting so
no.
damn fast. Sushi going on a rampage, and out of nowhere, Sushi just got 3 extra kills, and he's fed.
And this is the continuation of the fight after they won so effectively. It starts off with Lawrence jumping on the wall. They kill Poku super quickly, and they also kill Hive. But something just completely disrupts everything in the fight. They cannot go on to Sushi. That is squishy AD carry because you have the Gragas on point denying everything. Then he re-engages, takes down one target, takes down the second one on the form of short arrays when he comes back, and it's just so much damage.
Whoa, Zalt going down in the one-on-one. Like a Moss starting to come online here. His Roa's not even stacked yet. He's down a whole item, and he is taking down that Gragas in the one-on-one. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, that's a surprise that we didn't see coming through at all, and it has to be that Salt was not paying attention, because it just feels weird that the Gragas that was so strong. Oh, like almost dead.
Ooh, he's trying to fight his way out of here. Kingslayer gonna give him a fair bit of regen, but he is melting down to Hive way too fast. Blackrock clap back, get a mid laner of their own to match on the other side. Let's watch this one-on-one again.
Okay, he fails the body dump. He fails all his combo pretty much, and after his combo is down, he pretty much he failed everything. He deserves to die.
Yeah, all right. It's no matter how fed you are, it's really hard to come back from missing every ability in the kit. They will end up losing out on the one-on-one. That's not going to end up losing their team much of anything, though. Zalt coming over the wall to clear out the blast cone. Good call there. Now just has to mark Shorter Race coming on over. Decoy going to look for the Gnar. Doesn't find him. Shorter Race is in the pit. Shorter Race wants to steal, but will melt to Zalt. Way too fast. Blackrock claims the Baron.
Yeah, he has to go in when he's like, the Baron is still higher than 1/3 of his health, so like it's impossible for the Shinja out there to be able to seal it, and then he just gets blown up because everyone in Blackrock can follow up on the damage. They do get a bounty, but it's Baron buff and blue buff for everyone on the team. Really well done, really nicely done. They did so much damage to this Baron buff as soon as it spawns, and I have to respect the attempt by Shorter Race, but it was not going to work out. Decoy hasn't been on point with those Mega Gnars.
He is not. As I do need to shout out Aegis Esports 2 coming on in with their raid. Another league finishes on off, and happy to join us here in ACL. Been a lot of action, so I'm a little late on that one, but that's life. As Lawrence going to have to use the Fate Seal to escape here. Decoy starting to look a little bit scary with that Trinity Force completed, and he knows there's going to be other members of Blackrock at his back not too far away. Take that recall.
Yeah,
Will Hive find him though? Nice catch there with the bolt. Severing bolt, stopping the recall. Pak is continuing to keep the pressure on the Yone, which will keep him off the map for longer.
I actually like that they were respecting the potential of someone being there. Again, like a moss.
Ooh. Moving back and forth. All going to force the flash out of Lawrence. And nobody will end up dropping here. Recall getting channeled now by Zalt. Ooh, will he be able to get out of here in time? Lawrence has arrived to the play. Lycamos has got to be very careful here. You know the burst damage this Gragas brings to the table, especially with that Lich Bane. He doesn't have the ultimate, but he doesn't need it. Is the bot lane throwing all their abilities at the enemy here, chunking Legacy and DDoS out. Severing Bolt nearly takes him off the map. He's got to get back into the base, and now there's a siege occurring in mid lane. It doesn't matter that there's 2 members looking for Zalt, as the whole base is crumbling around them. They have to give up on chasing the Fat Man, and Zalt's just going to be able to regroup with the team. Mid lane inhibitor already falling. Bot lane inhibitor going to join it before too long. Legamos has the Gnar stolen away, but needs to be able to find a sick engage angle. Lawrence decides it's time for him to recall. He's got to help out his team, but it's too late. You can't save the inhibs now. He's going to interrupt it, knowing that the base is in shambles.
That is one big ring around the Rosie, and nobody gets affected. Wait, Lawrence, that's a little bit too risky.
Uh-oh. Yeah, this is going to be a full combo. Has to Fate Sealed his way out. Explosive cast would have killed him. He's got a flash too. Great play by Zalt there. Just holds the abilities, knows that he's going to cash out there.
Yeah, a bit of his timing though with the cast coming through, because he could have 100% solo killed Lawrence, but still forcing both the ultimate and the flash off of the Yone 45 seconds before the soul fight. That's a big cooldown that they are able to blow up, and Aporia simply has no control over this map to be able to fight this. Even Pocus, as the support Yone, is dealing so much more damage than you're expecting, and he's just so scary at this point as well.
Ooh, good little chunk of damage on towards DDoS. Sushi moving forward, getting already those stacks applied. And DDoS gonna melt down. One more Achu, and Sushi goes unstoppable. DDoS just getting his ult back while he's in the death chamber. Sequoia now getting collapsed on by 3, trying to buy time for the rest of the team to show up. Nars like a Moss into the wall. There's going to be a crescent guard. Here comes Mom over the wall, and like a Moss just melts. Now locking down onto Lawrence, saving the season assist for the carry. There's just no chance for Aporia. It's a double kill to the Gragas. Zult is 13 and 4, and the rest of the base is waiting for BlackRock to tear it apart. Only one member left. Legacy waiting for DDoS to respawn. They're going to need a miracle for this to not end here.
This is going to be it. There's 2 members now, but I don't think it's going to be enough. A lone AD carry and a support that are really easy to blow up. Yeah, they're probably dead here. Legacy's down, and that is going to be the Nexus.
No chance left for Aporia. 10 seconds on their remaining members. BlackRock Esports show up. Explosive start here to the Aegis Champions League. They are going to take themselves a 2-0 victory over Aporia and start off hot.
And honestly, the biggest thing to me here for BlackRock is not only the huge shout out that they pretty much put on Aporia, but the fact that with Fearless, they showed one side that is meta and one side that has complete flex picks that can completely run over the game. That is such an important strength to have when you're playing Fearless, and that can be scary when looking forward later on when teams have to face them because of the variety that they can bring. Huge props to Pocus. That was such a well-played way support.
Absolutely, and this should get everybody excited for seeing BlackRock in open qualifiers starting tomorrow. I mean, this team got a lot of wind knocked out of their sails by the roster changes, at least in a lot of people's opinions, but Sushi looking great here, Zult looking great here, a very impressive showing out of BlackRock to kick things off.
Yeah, and honestly, I want to give the credit to Salty because he played amazing well. To me, the MVP of the 2 games, pretty much consistent carry performance in the mid lane. But Sushi is probably one of the players that didn't get enough attention. Like, Salt was already known and he was on Mirage Alliance. Juniors next. I don't remember the
rookies, they called it.
Yeah, rookie. Yeah, I didn't remember the follow up on that, but he was still known and he was a great player. But Sushi coming in and pretty much changing the role and performing so well, it's going to be actually exciting to see how well can they perform. I'm excited to see this BlackRock roster in the OQs this weekend.
Yeah, I absolutely am as well. Just want to do a quick shout out to Pro Comps as well, our sponsor and a game changer app for the League of Legends community. It's not like other tools. It is your personal draft coach, perfect for both teams and solo players. In fact, you can pair it with any other app you use. ProComp stands out with features like custom champion pools, personalized tier lists, and live draft advice. Think of it as having a virtual coach and a strategy toolkit all in one. They offer real-time champ and ban recommendations, and they already have over 200,000 downloads and thousands of daily users just like you. ProComps is user-friendly and totally free. It is a no-brainer to at least give it a go. Download ProComps now, and you'll experience a whole new level of drafting power in your league games. Go to procomps.gg, download it from Overwolf, or click on the panel down below our stream. Thank you once again to ProComps for sponsoring the Aegis Champions League at this split. That's going to do it for our very first stream here at TDS. It's been a pretty quick one. Got it really over and done with without too much of a delay here. A solid performance from BlackRock, but it's been a fun one here, and we are going to be back every single week for the whole split with a new featured match each and every week. Hopefully going to be live sooner rather than later once Riot gets this this whole spectate thing sorted out. But in the meantime, thank you guys all for tuning in. Stay tuned to the Aegis channel throughout the week. We'll be covering more Aegis leagues. TDS and I will be covering Lotus through the Swiss stage this weekend in open qualifiers. Not sure yet if that's going to be on a Lotus stream or if that is going to be on this stream. We'll find that out before too long. Stay tuned to stay tuned to the Aegis Twitter, I guess, for that. We'll have something out.
No, our Twitters, just in case.
Our personal Twitters. Just go in there. I can we can make commitments there, whereas we might not have commitments elsewhere. Best of luck. It's going to be on Aegis. Somebody just pinged me. Thank you very much, Ivar. So it will be here. So stay tuned here throughout the weekend. We'll be covering the Lotus run through the open qualifiers. Best of luck to all of our other ACL competitors who are going to be in OQs this weekend. I used to list off the teams at times like this. I think we've grown past that. It's like half the teams and players are in OQs. So just
Yeah.
good luck to all of you. I don't have time to list you all out, but best of luck to everybody. And we're going to be back next week. So stay tuned to the Aegis channel. Stay tuned to the ACL. Stay tuned to the Open Qualifiers. And from myself, TDS, Caddy on production, Pro Comps, and Coachify, thank you all. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.